Hi everyone, this is my second video in a new series I'm going to try out for a little while called My Favorite Maps. Each week I'll look at all of the maps made in Metro Mapmaker over the previous week and show you my favorites. I'll also include links to every map in the video notes so you can remix your favorites. This week we're looking at maps made the week of November 18th, 2024. There were over 1,600 maps made this week, almost 1,700, and it took a long time to review them all and decide which ones I wanted to include and what I wanted to say about them. So let's take a look at my favorites. In no particular order, some cities like London or Washington, D.C. or San Francisco have iconic, easily recognizable metro systems. Sometimes it's the shape of the map, other times the additional map geography, like certain lines or even rivers, those can help you identify a place. And if you're used to the London tube map, you might not recognize this as London, but this vast map fits 840 stations without feeling crowded. This legend down at the bottom suggests that this map was originally made in 2022, but from what I can tell, it looks like the map has had a couple of updates since then. This map is really pleasing to look at. With 35 lines, there are a lot of colors, and I like the way the larger station markers here are used to show the end of the line. One choice I think is really smart here is to number the lines rather than giving them names. With 35 lines, many of your colors are going to be similar, so you can't rely on color to navigate. For instance, look at these different red lines and the yellow lines right here, even the blue and the purple, all very similar. You can't rely on the colors, so having the line numbers is really smart. At first, when I was trying to figure out where this map was located, I was a little bit thrown off by it switching between French and Spanish, and also having stations like Tokyo and Uzbekistan. But then again, it also has carrots. So, this extensive map of an imaginary place looks easy to navigate, and I think it was a good choice to use short station names. Most station names in this map are one word long, and that really helps to avoid this map becoming crowded. This map of Palm City is pretty small and simple. It's not a bad thing, it's very well designed. Not every map needs to be large and extensive, and this one is very legible. I really like how it uses the different line styles to show lines that are currently planned and those that are under construction. This map of Melbourne is really extensive, and I quite like, if we look closely, I quite like how these station styles are mixed. You can see different station markers. Here we have the rounded rectangles. These look like medium circles, and these are small circles. Here we have thin circles. So a lot of variety here. But I kind of wish there was a legend to help explain what the different station markers are supposed to indicate. Overall, though, this map is really well designed, and for a map with so many stations and so much density, that's not easy to do. I think the thin line width was a really smart choice here, too. If the lines were thicker, it would probably be a lot harder to read. For this map of Sydney, I actually want to zoom in on this salmon colored line and scroll down here. I quite like this approach to preventing the map from feeling very crowded in this dense inner core. You can imagine trying to cram all of these stations in and just having it not really look the way that you want it. So an inset like this makes this map very legible without sacrificing any of the other design elements. This map looks like it's of a fictional place, and it has a little logo down here for Sanders Art. And this map has a lot of spacing in between each station, which I think makes it especially easy to read. This map of Philadelphia has a mix of geography and border lines. This map is also really detailed, extremely detailed, but also still legible. It makes great use of the 200 by 200 map size, and the unused space feels like a great opportunity to add regional rail as well. I'm not sure exactly where this is in Germany, but this is a really extensive map. And it looks like it also continues on to regional rail here as well, as you can see from the arrows. Throughout today's video, I'm going to highlight a handful of different ways that map makers have used arrows to indicate direction. And I'm really curious to hear from you which ones you like the best. So let me know in the comments. Moscow's system is vast, and I'll admit that Metro Mapmaker doesn't currently do an amazing job with circles and rounded corners. But this mapmaker was undaunted. There's actually three maps here in one. Here we have the main map, which feels a little bit crowded, but is really well done. Down here, there's a strip map, and this also has lots of nice dots to show which lines you can transfer to. And over here we have a third map, which is how all of the urban and suburban rail, which is represented by the dotted lines, how those interconnect with one another. To represent such a large and extensive map with so many stations so legibly, this is really well done and a great job on the design. These next two maps are pretty much the same map with a slight variation. I really like the Washington, D.C. style end dots, and the mix of the line widths and styles and the station markers I think also looks really nice too. It makes this map look very visually distinct. And if we go to this map as well, this one adds some dark green lines, the black lines as well, and a couple of arrows. So this one has a few more stations in addition to the arrows. This one has it without, which looks a little bit cleaner. And I think both maps are designed really well, but I'm really curious, which one is your favorite? This map of Chicago has another take on arrows down here in the inset for the loop. I think these arrows look really nice because they're not too large, but they still do a good job of indicating direction. This map of Chicago also uses the new line style to really make it like the actual Chicago map. I do think that this map could be a bit smaller than it is now, but the extra space over here on the left is just calling out for you to remix it and add new lines and stations. First off, I love the pastels here, and the legend and logo up top add a nice finishing touch. The station name labels are also facing in very readable directions too, which makes this map very easy to read in addition to the clean and straightforward lines, making it easy to navigate. This map of Sao Paulo makes full use of the 360 by 360 largest map size, and there's still plenty of negative space. With 39 lines and over 750 stations, this map is an ambitious undertaking. It's not easy to design a map that's this extensive and legible at the same time, but the map maker here did a really great job. So well done. This map of Barcelona looks like a remix of one that's in the gallery listed as one of my favorites, and the map maker here made some great additions. Let's take a look. I especially love the use of the new line styles and the line widths. up here, and the mix of these station markers. Like the Moscow map, this map also uses a strip map down below with the colored dots to show which lines you can transfer to. And over here is a separate map showing the connections of the trams. There are several things about this map that are extremely cool. First off, look at the cities. We have Sydney, Melbourne, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Busan, Tokyo. This mapmaker will not be constrained by continents or national boundaries, and I am here for it. Second, this is a great color choice. We have red, blue, yellow, green, very classic. Third, look at how the slight asymmetry down in this lower left-hand corner subtly tells you that these lines are looping. We have the red, we have the green, we have the yellow. Fourth, check out the usage of the different line styles in the middle of the yellow and the green lines right here. Take a look at that. That was a very intentional choice. Why did the mapmaker do this? Well, if these lines had the same color, they do, the same width, yes, they do, and the same style, they don't. But if they had the same as all three, these lines would combine together because usually that's what you want. But that would look pretty confusing on a map like this. So this is such a smart way of indicating direction. And just to bring the point home, let's go ahead and draw that out. See, this is what it would look like. It wouldn't work. So let me undo that. So much better. Finally, check out how the black lines are used to indicate direction down here. I often see arrows drawn on the map. I've called out a few maps earlier that have had arrows drawn on the map, but they often have quite chunky lines and in the same color as the line that they're indicating. I think this with the black lines works so effectively. Super thin line and in black for all four colors. This is someone who is clearly a superb designer, but from the way they've combined these features together, I can tell they also make a lot of maps with Metro Map Maker. So great job. Making a legible diagram of Tokyo is a serious challenge. This map has 19 lines, but I really like how this map maker approached it. First off, the colorful squares capping the ends of the lines looks really great, especially with the rectangular station markers. And keeping the station labels oriented mostly in the same direction throughout each line works really well to make this map easy to read. This suburban rail map of Detroit, Michigan is beautifully designed. I like the slightly thinner line width, and the mix of station markers is really visually pleasing. I'm not sure where this map is located, though it being in Spanish is a clue. If you know, please tell me in the comments. This map really uses the mix and match line widths and styles really well. The thin dashed lines look really good, perhaps denoting some geographic boundary or maybe even a different fare zone. I'm not quite sure. This map is just a tiny bit too big to fit in a 160 by 160 grid, and it instead uses 200 by 200, but that gives you lots of room for expansion. This map of Anoura has an excellent, simple design. I quite like when maps are small and uncomplicated. I think the thin line width was a good choice, and the rivers here might also help you place it. The thin circled station marker also works really well for this map. You know, I just have to include some maps of Washington, D.C. Design-wise, I like that this map includes the station terminus dots and abbreviations like the red line up here, and the county line markers are a really nice touch, although I'd probably redo them in the thinner line style now that those are available. This adds walking transfers, which is nice, although Metro Center and Gallery Place are so close to each other that they should have a walking transfer as well. The Purple Line here is sure to cause conflict with the Maryland Transit Administration's Purple Line connecting Bethesda and Silver Spring and College Park and New Carrollton, but I do like the choices that the mapmaker made for the Purple Line here. The Brown Line here connecting Virginia all the way up into Maryland is a good choice, and I really like the Silver Line branches away from the blue and orange lines earlier. There's a lot to enjoy about this map, including another branch of the yellow line moving away from the green, and I was just really delighted to go through all of the details. One more map from DC. This is a complete reimagining of Washington, DC. It doesn't seem to have any connection to the existing metro or to the Virginia Railway Express or to the MARC train either. This is just a complete new set of lines and stations. I find the color choices a little challenging to distinguish, but I really enjoy how imaginative this map is. As best as I can tell, this looks to be like a map of a fictional city called Hendrickburg in Germany. But if I'm wrong here, please let me know. I really like this vast and extensive map. Sometimes maps can be very dense at the inner core and very sparse at the outer areas, but this map is balanced and legible. I probably say this a lot, but the thinner line width works really well for a map that is so large and has so many stations. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the second video in the series. If you haven't seen the first one and you enjoyed this, you might like that one as well. I'll include a link to that one in the description. With about 1,700 maps made this week, it's impossible to cover them all. And a lot of maps that I really, really liked and thought were well done, I unfortunately ended up cutting for time. Every map that you make takes a lot of work, and I see that. You should be really proud of the maps that you make. So if I've missed your map, please let me know in the comments because I'd love to check it out. As I mentioned in the last video, being based in Washington, D.C., I have a lot more to say about maps in Washington, and I can talk about the specific lines and the stops in much greater detail rather than just focusing on the design. But you're the expert on your city, and I'd love to see a video of your favorite maps. So if you make one, please send it to me so I can watch. And if you're looking for maps in your city, you can browse maps by city. In the new version coming out soon, I've made some big improvements to the Maps by City search feature to help you more easily discover maps in your city. That'll be out soon, and if you want to know exactly when, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the video announcing the new version. Until then, happy map making.